Hey there, I am Daniel. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about kind of making an adventure by using parts of another adventure. So I've been running an Astonishing Swordsman and Sorcerer of Hyboria campaign now for several months. I think we just finished session 21 and we're running weekly. I think we missed 1 or 2 weeks, but basically we've been running it for a few months. And my plan is to, they have great modules. And I've been like kind of running the campaign as they go through each module, you know, kind of interconnecting them. And the thing with great modules is that, generally speaking, in my opinion, what makes an adventure or module great is that you don't always get to cover all of it. Like, there's lots of stuff in there that the PCs may never see because that's just the nature of the adventure. You know, it's like they can't necessarily, if you're playing in a campaign, you know, and you're trying to be realistic, you know, it's like you're not going to do it like a video game where it's like, we got to clear every single room. I mean, they're there for a reason. In fact, in Port Greeley, which was the one we just finished, they actually accomplished the mission of the module, and then we ran an additional session where they went back because they knew there was some evil there. So they went back and actually did a little bit more in the module, but they still didn't do all of it. And what happened was I was rolling on my debauchery charts as we roll, and Nikki's character Panesta got a roll that she bought a treasure map, and I thought, okay, well, that's cool. I could just tie it into the next adventure, or let's make a little adventure in between. And I actually have you know, several books of treasure maps and things that I've collected, but as I was going through, I was looking at the 3 modules that we've run so far in this campaign, which are the Zambala module, the Ghost Ship of the Desert Dunes, and then Port Greeley. And I thought, well, there's cool stuff in all of these. Maybe I can put something together. And I especially remembered that when they went through the desert, there was a lot of kind of like off. And I thought this when I was maybe Jeffrey, if you ever see this, you can tell me what your thoughts are here. But you know, the module is pretty. It puts you on a time limit. It puts you basically a straight line to where you need to go. And then there's these other things that are just off to the sides. And I don't know if when he was playtesting it, if the group like left the trail to go there. The way I ran it, because the guy that hired them was pretty obsessive, is that they basically didn't check most of those things because they were too far out of the way, which is, you know, cool because they stayed on track, but kind of bad because I wanted to play those out. So one of those things, actually, I'm going to show you the modules. So you're staring at my face here. Let me show you my screen here. Let's see, that's in the Desert Dunes. Let's see. Okay. So, oh, we can see OBS back there. Let's do this. All right, so we've got the Ghost Ship. Now, when you're traveling through, this is spoilers for these, by the way, if you guys are planning on playing in this, you probably don't want to look at all this. But as you're traveling through the Diamond Desert, actually, I think the map might be at the beginning. But anyways, this is a very simple, like, line-drawn map. And essentially, you're going up a river. And when you get to... Sorry, as I'm flying past the pages here, I probably should have went on that page to start with. As you're... on the actual module, it's in the first page. I'm guessing maybe it's at the end. Where's the map? Where's the map? There it is. Okay, so you know, like I say, it's pretty much a straight line, and you're kind. They did investigate this because it was really close. But over here, there's a dome. There's like an oasis over here. There's some cactus stuff over here. Now, currently, my players are back in Cromarium, so they're not in a desert. So I'm not going to put an oasis or a cacti field. However. And they did encounter that too. However, this dome over here is super interesting. So if we come over here to the dome, I'm going to scroll down to it here. It's a pretty simple thing, and actually, it's it's a seed, we'll say. Essentially, I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but essentially, what happens here in this dome is that an ancient sorcerer, Valamar Vez, he trapped a demon in here. And basically the demon got out by tricking an apprentice, killed the apprentice, killed people, and cursed this sorcerer to be buried in this dome. And basically what it is he's in this dome and, you know, his body. And then every day he basically gets resurrected. I guess the dirt is moved away from him. He wakes up, and then a bunch of skeletons come to life and bury him again, and he suffocates. So he's been going through this for whatever many 1,000 years, whatever. So this is like his curse, right? And the players can come in, the PCs can come in, if they try to help him, the skeletons attack, which is not a major issue for the level of characters that they are now. I don't think, what I might do is either up the number of skeletons or tweak them a bit. We'll look at that in a second, but essentially that's not the main part of it. Essentially what's going to happen is he's going to ask them to help him. And I don't think that anybody, I'm pretty sure that nobody has a remove curse. I don't think they're high enough level. I'll have to check that. Because it says here that you need to remove curse to save him. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to tell, first of all, I'm going to move it. It's not going to be in the desert. It's going to be in the swamps. So he's going to get buried by, like, mud, right? So I can do the same thing. It's basically the same kind of thing. Deserted, buried. Instead of buried under the sand, it's going to be buried under a swamp. I'll still use the skeletons, or maybe I'll change them to, like, ghouls or something that makes more sense for a swamp, or zombies, right? And what he'll do is, if once they go in there, if they go to save him, and of course they're going to be all, I know my players, they're going to be twitchy. They're not going to want to save him because they're going to be like, should we save this guy? He's going to offer them treasure. That's basically, the treasure map is going to be his treasure, and he's the only one that can help them get it out of the ground because it's basically buried in the swamp. If they talk to him, I mean, first of all, they could just be like, screw that and kill the guy. I mean, and then he'll just come back in 24 hours, and that's the end of it. But if I can entice them, he's going to tell them that the Toad matron, who is actually from this module, Zambala, because they never went down into the area where the Toad matron was, so they never actually encountered her. She is here, I think. So she's basically this this witch, right? There she is. And she can change form and stuff. And she likes to eat people. I mean, she's bad, whatever. But she's actually not high enough level to cast it either, but I'm going to change that, right? Essentially, what it's going to be is that she lives in this swamp, and then she comes by and tortures this sorcerer to try to get magic from him. Like, she's making him teach her magic, and she's basically, giving him conversation, whatever it is that makes him want to deal with her. She wants this magical gem that he has, because actually in Zambala, she wants a gem, so I'm just going to use that. She wants this magical gem. He doesn't want to give her the gem because he knows that, like, if he gives her the gem, she might not even cast the remove curse, and she might just leave him there, and then she's got it. So there's this, like, standoff, right? So the idea of this is that the sorcerer is going to try to convince the party to go negotiate with the Toad matron for him to make sure, like, this is done cleanly. Like, she does remove the curse, and he will give her the gem, and then they can have the other treasure, which I'm taking from. Told you I was using multiple things here. I really liked in the Port Greeley module, and I knew reading this they'd never get to it. It's like hidden behind like a room full of bees, and it's in a secret door, and I knew my party would never go for it. But there's a cool treasure here in room 5 that is an iron box, oxidized, disrepair, gold coins spill from its corroded seams. I'll have to change that probably. And there was a trap on it, but it's broken, whatever. But it has just 1,200 gold pieces, which is not a lot, but it has a flying carpet, which I love flying carpets. So there's going to be a flying carpet, 1,200 gold pieces. Excuse me, the gem that we're promising them, right? And also, when they unroll the carpet, they're going to find these 19 yellow figures that are worth 50 gold pieces apiece. So that's pretty good for an adventure. I've talked about this before. When you're doing XP for gold, you got to make sure you're giving people enough gold. I mean, it might seem outrageous, but it's a party of 4. You've got, I'll just round up to 20 to make it easy, but you get these 19 gems, which is 10 of them would be 500, so it'd be like about 1,000 gold pieces, worth of gems. You've got the another 1,200 there, so they're going to get about a little over 2,000 experience points. Plus, they'll get the carpet. So this is a little bit low, but this should be a one session thing. They should be able to get in here, deal with this, have little combat. It'll be mostly role playing, I would imagine. I mean, it could go a lot of different ways. This is kind of how I imagine it. They might end up fighting the Toad matron, and if they do, I will. She does have treasure, I'm sure. I actually didn't look yet, but yeah, she's got 500 gold piece rubies, 3 of them. So she actually has 3 gems. If they decide to kill her or whatever, I mean, it could happen. So you've got some options here, so the party will be able to deal with her. She's not going to be that tough. I mean, either one of these 2 people, the party will be able to kill. But what it comes down to is, do they want the treasure? And this is a good way, I think. Like, if you see a lot of this on forums where people talk about how their parties are just murder hobos and they just kill everything. Making adventures where killing the people is probably the way to the least way to gain the experience points and gold is a good way to kind of tamper that. You know, if you have a mix of things where like really the best solution here is for them to negotiate, because if they do, the chance of them dying is very low because they're not fighting anybody, and they're going to walk away with a few $1,000s, a few thousand gold, in treasure, really just for and a flying carpet, right? So to me, that's like the kind of a good mix of adventure. The last adventure, like I said, they went back to cleanse the temple, was a lot of them like they brought mercenaries and there was a lot of combat. This one's going to be a lot of kind of just eerie feeling. Like I'll have them travel out there a little bit, but I probably won't have any encounters. They'll just be traveling through the mud and swamp and start to set that up as an idea. So I do have some notes here for myself. If the party can get the Toad Matron to cast Remove Curse, the sorcerer will open a magically sealed area outside the dome, of course. He'll raise it from the swamp. So basically he's going to do one of those. You see those in like the old sword and sorcery movies where he's going to like, whoa, and then like out of the swamp is going to raise this room that's all in ruins. And in the room is going to be this chest with the treasure. He'll give the party the treasure chest. And he'll give the matron the gem. But when she takes the gem, she's going to turn to stone because he's not going to give her the magic word that allows her to touch it. Because, twist. And then when she does, I'm going to, my note here says, the sorcerer will laugh and then apparently shrivel up and form into a dusty form and mix with the mud and disappear into the swamp. And then I have a note that says, he's casting an illusion spell. So what it's going to look like is they're going to get the treasure. He's going to be like, yes, give her the gem. He's going to be like weak, so he won't be able to do it. He'll be like, oh, yes, give her the gem. And then when she takes the gem, she's going to be like, the gem. And then she's going to turn to stone and probably break into pieces, however I want to play it out. And then they'll turn back to him probably being like, what the hell? And like they want to stab him. And when they do, they'll see him shrivel up and die. This will then set this guy up to either never be seen again, so I don't have to care about him, right? I don't have to like make something for him in the campaign. Or if I want, I can use him later because he'll be in existence. Because if you look at back to where he originally exists, which is the ghost ship module. Let's find the ghost ship. What it says about him is that let's see what it says. Vez is a rightful Hyborian king with no kingdom. Those surviving descendants are scattered about the realm. He's mad, but once he regains his facilities, he's 10th level magician of significant resourcefulness. Perhaps he will attempt to rebuild Zulus, which is his town that got smashed, his kingdom rather. Perhaps conjure its ghost to rise from the blasting sands of the Diamond Coast, or raise the city itself. Right? Anything is possible, fellow referees. I like that it says that in the module. So what it's saying here is, so there you go, guys. Anything is possible, fellow referees. Now what I'm doing is I'm using content that I already have, so I don't have to look around for an adventure. It's cool stuff that I already kind of want to work with. I can just change it slightly. It fits the tone of the campaign because it's already from those modules. It's already from Hyboria. And like I said, I get to use stuff I didn't want to use. But also, we're setting up 2 interesting NPCs. The Toad Matron may not, maybe she never takes the gem or something happens. She might just be an NPC. Or maybe she turns to stone, but then later on she reappears and she had some kind of, way that she avoided that. Who knows, right? He's going to end up being a long-term NPC as well, one way or the other. Because if they leave him there to drown every single day forever, eventually somebody will rescue him. And he will remember that the party left him there to suffer. So this will create some future point in the campaign where this 10th level magician with significant resources will at some point resurface. So I'm creating a future plot with this, basically insert adventure. And I think that's how you create a campaign when you're using modules. Because I think sometimes people, you can do it a lot of different ways. You can just do it very drop into the module, come back out, drop into the module, which is actually what I had originally planned when I was going to do this. But we've been enjoying ourselves so much, I'm adding all this content in between to make the game go longer and more interesting and have these like little subplots. And it's working out really well. So I recommend you try this trick. If you've got a bunch of adventures that people have gone through already and you've enjoyed, but you haven't been able to use all of it, go back and pick some of those things you didn't use because they're good. Now, I will say, this is kind of a final warning thing, because you may have heard, if you look online, of the term quantum ogre, which is usually associated with railroading. This is not the same as that. It's not like I wanted them to encounter him here, so like no matter which way they went, they were going to encounter him. They didn't encounter him. Like they were able to bypass him originally, because they didn't go that way in the module. I didn't force it on them. I'm just recycling this content in a different way, so it's not being wasted. It's not like I'm running an adventure and no matter what happens, you must encounter the ogre. No, I mean, even in this case, if they go out there, they can choose to not go to the matron. They could choose to not help him. They can do whatever they want. I mean, if they wander around out there, they will not be able to find the treasure without him, though, because that is buried via his magic. So if they go out there and they just say, screw this guy, then what I'll probably do to fill the session up is I'll probably just add some, I'll put together a little list of wandering monsters in the swamps, and we'll just, they'll wander around a bit and they won't find anything. That's the way it is, right? And there you go. So let me know what you guys think. Do you do this? Is this something that's common? I think maybe more people do it than I think. How do you guys put together adventures? If you're running campaigns, how do you kind of interlock modules if you do use modules in your campaign? I'd be super interested in what you're doing, and I'll see you next time.